In any case, there was no response, and all was quiet for the rest of the night, but Johnson was convinced that Bell was telling the truth. The voices in the house grew louder. It sang hymns, quoted scriptures, and even had intelligent conversation with the Bells, identifying itself as Kate. These supernatural events caught the attention of the then Major General, Andrew Jackson. Bell's 3 eldest sons had served under Jackson in the Battle of New Orleans, and in 1819, Andrew Jackson decided to see for himself what was going on at the Bell family farm. He left Nashville with several men on horseback and a wagon. As he approached the Bells' property, the wagon abruptly stopped. The wheels frozen despite the horse team's best effort to move the wagon. They had pulled all the way from Nashville. Jackson proclaimed, "By the eternal, boys, that must be the Bell Witch." Then a female voice spoke in the ear of the future president. They could proceed, and that she would see them later that night. And proceed they did. The wagon wheels moved freely, and Jackson and his entourage made way up the lane to the Bell's house. That night, as Jackson and Bell talked, a soldier claimed he was a witch tamer. And brandishing a shiny silver pistol, he claimed its silver bullets would kill any evil creature. And the reason they had not experienced anything, aside from the frozen wagon and the warning in the Major General's ear, was because the entity must be scared of his silver bullets.
Wow.
Almost immediately, the man screamed, his body spasming. He claimed being poked with pins, and he was being beaten by something that no one else in the room could see. Finally, and literally a swift kick in the ass, the soldier was pushed out the door, and an angry voice echoed in the house that soon another fraud would be revealed to the party, and he would receive similar torment the following evening. Much to the chagrin of Jackson's men, the Major General was curious to find out to whom the entity was referring. Though the next morning, Jackson and his men inexplicably left the Bells farm and headed back to Nashville. Perhaps even Andrew Jackson had succumbed to the terror that was ripe within his men. Later, Betsy became interested in one Joshua Gardner, a young man who lived close by. The families blessed the young couple when they decided to get married. Kate was the only voice of disapproval, telling Betsy repeatedly not to marry Gardner. Betsy and Joshua could not go anywhere together without being taunted by Kate. And the day after Easter, 1921, Betsy broke off her engagement to Joshua, and Kate left her alone for the first time in months. Though Betsy's problems with the entity had subsided, Kate now took umbrage with John Bell, vowing that she would be the death of him.
Ooh.
Over the next year, Bell's health began to quickly decline. Kate was getting the best of old Jack Bell, as she often called him. On a cold December morning, John Bell breathed his last breath. Following John's death, the family discovered a small vial they had never seen before. In an odd test of the contents of the vial, the family gave some to the cat, who died shortly thereafter.
Aww.
The entity reportedly laughed, saying, "I gave old Jack a big dose of that last night. That fixed him."
That's horrible.
John Jr., John's oldest son, threw the bottle into the fireplace and exploded into a large ball of blue flame. We talked about blue flame being a harbinger of evil
Right.
in a previous podcast.
Right.
So the bottle exploded into a large ball of blue flame and that shot up the chimney. The entity was quiet for the next few days until John Bell's funeral, when Kate whispered into the ear of John's widow, Lucy, that her business was done, but she would return in 7 years.
Ooh.
The Bell family has continued to be haunted to this day by the Bell Witch, even in modern times. That's one hell of a witch.
Yeah, it is.
And if that ain't a kick in the sack, I don't know what is.
All right, this is Two Nuts in a Sack signing off.